Their quarterback. What we saw today in this matchup, guys, was the different tier of a quarterback that Jordan Love is compared to Caleb Williams right now today. That was the difference in this matchup. Jordan Love, 234 through the air, 8 of 12 on third downs, but he averaged 9.4 yards per throw. That's almost a first down every time he threw the football and completed a pass. That's high-level play. Compared to Caleb Williams, in the entire ball game, he threw for 186. He averaged 5.3 yards per throw. That was his average.
I totally get what you're saying, and I'm not discrediting Jordan Love's play today. He was exactly what his team needed to be. That average number that you're loving right now, buoyed by some long throws where Dennis Allen gave him cover 0, cover 1, no help over the top. So it could be defined by 3 plays. If you want to say Caleb Williams, Jordan Love being your story out of this one, I'm enticed to hear more beyond just that average.
See, but that's the thing about the game of football. It's your job to execute whatever it is you're going against.
Absolutely.
And he did. He made those throws. We saw some throws that Caleb did not make that was there based on the defensive coverages that he was facing. That's the issue, I think, for Caleb, for him to get to this level, because they're a playoff caliber team. And if you're a Chicago Bears fan, you believe, based on what you've seen so far this season, forget getting into the playoffs. You think you have a shot. Sure. You have a shot. Now, I don't know if you had that mindset in August or September, but now expectations can change.
Yeah.
So now your expectation is this. We can compete with the Green Bay Packers of the NFC. We can compete against the Rams, the Philadelphia Eagles, because of our team and the makeup. But for us to get to that level and make these things a reality, your quarterback got to make routine plays happen routinely. We know he can make the gaudy passes, the improvising, on the fly, breaking the pocket, making people miss the flick of the wrist. But the routine plays and seeing it in a routine way is something that didn't happen today, and that was the deciding factor. When you watch this ball game, guys, when I look at these numbers, the game was so similar for both sides. Total yards, Chicago 315, Green Bay 337. Right? Passing yards as a team, Chicago 177, 220 for Green Bay. Rushing yards, Chicago 138, 117 for Green Bay. It was right there.
And I think with you sort of outlining it that way, where my mind goes is not in the way that the quarterback executed, but what they were shown. I think Jordan Love was shown far more elementary looks than Caleb Williams dealt with. And I'm not here to come in defense of Caleb Williams. This was a great game by Jordan Love. I don't want to mince words there. I do want to go to that final moment of this game, JJ. 4th and 1, the clock management. What did you make of it and the play call there?
So we're watching it, and gosh, we're like, it's okay. There's some time, and then the clock gets into the 40s. And then the clock gets to 41, and Caleb, kind of checks, and it gets to 39. It's like, oh, man, because at some point, because you had 3 timeouts, there becomes a time where there is so little time left that it doesn't matter if you have 3 timeouts. And so that's the danger zone we were getting into. And then that may cause you to rush just a little bit, play with a little more urgency. Now, all these teams rep these days, right, these 2-minute situations. And it feels like to myself and certainly to the average observer that these teams are okay with it getting a little bit closer than it had in the past. Like, oh, no, we're fine snapping it at 55.
Because you're also playing defense on the clock going the other way, which could be a short field and a game-winning scenario for the Packers.
Because if Jordan Love is actually playing the way that BMAC is saying that he played in that game, then you're kicking off to them. They're getting it at the 35, and then it just takes 2 first downs for Jordan Love to go ahead and get them into field goal range, right? So that has been but really, for me, it came down to defense.
Yeah.
It came down to defense. You mentioned the cover 1 looks that Dennis Allen kind of threw out there that Jordan Love did take advantage of. I look at the Green Bay Packers defense to start out the game. The Chicago Bears have been one of the best offenses in terms of starting football games this season after being one of the worst last year. And what happened? They had 1 first down in the first quarter. They had 2 3-and-outs, 1 first down, and then they punted. And so credit to the Green Bay Packers for not allowing the Chicago Bears to come into their house and dictate terms early. And I think that set a tone, and from there, Chicago kept trying to work from behind, and ultimately, they didn't have enough at the end.
71 yards in the first half for the Chicago Bears. They come to life in the second half. Not enough. Emery, your storyline's what?
This, to me, spoke volumes about Matt LaFleur versus Dennis Allen. Because if you are Matt LaFleur, you're finding these matchups that you're being presented with. Like, man, how do we get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson matched up against one of the fastest dudes in the league at wide receiver in Christian Watson.
14 points.
So therein lies the difference. And Matt LaFleur felt like he was a step ahead because Chicago ran the football rather well. And on the other side, Green Bay had some success offensively, but it was always after Chicago's answer, Matt LaFleur had something in his bag to combat what he just saw the previous drive or with tendencies from Dennis Allen. So kudos to Matt LaFleur because all of those, how many times we kept seeing a wide receiver from Green Bay running across formation versus air. And that's a track meet for anybody that's going to lose. And so I thought Matt LaFleur always had the right things dialed up and had his players go out there and execute.
And there are a few quarterbacks in the NFL who trust their touch ball like Jordan Love does.
Yeah.
He's got no problem
back foot.
putting that thing up in the air off the back foot with some arc, and it was on the money here in this win over the Bears. It's now 9-3-1, better than 9-4 by a half game, and that head-to-head, the two will see each other in 2 weeks in Chicago. Mac, this is 11 points at halftime after Love hits the deep one against zone coverage. An amazing throw downfield to open this game up to 11 at the break. Chicago in the past, and being someone who's watched this team from a number of different seats, a number of different angles, they've blinked at moments like that. I'm not trying to draw the silver lining immediately off of this loss, but there really wasn't a blink. Where did they change? What did they adjust in the second half? They stayed committed to that run, certainly.
Yeah, they went back to their identity. They went back to the Chicago Bears in who we watched against the Philadelphia Eagles. In the second half, they said, you know what? We're going to slow this game down, and we're going to play my man is better than your man football. We're going to bring the Rydell to the game, which is the helmet, and we're going to lay that hat on you guys. And that's what they did. I mean, that's one scoring drive is a 17-play drive. 83 yards, over 8 minutes on the clock.
Span
a scoring
third to
drive.
fourth, yeah.
That's demoralizing, usually. But what Green Bay did was they recalibrated themselves, and they came back like a playoff caliber team will do. And that's why I like this game, because I understand Chicago Bears. You might feel some type of way because you hate the Packers, number one. You never want to lose to them, and you were right there. But you guys are right there. You lost this one, but your coach has instilled a new environment in the building that is felt throughout the entire landscape of the NFL world. We feel it, we see it. You just got to continue to learn and grow from this moment. Your quarterback has to learn and grow from this.
Yeah.
Because now, it's about to be January football. It's about to be good on good. So mistakes are at the minimum now. Quarterback, you got to make these plays. And he will learn from that. That interception, that game-winning interception, if you just be a little more patient, you got DJ Moore right there.
DJ Moore is sliding in a soft
and that
spot.
goes back to your initial point. If the clock management was handled properly, better.
You do wonder if there were 45 seconds on the clock right
Think
there.
about it. If you hit 45 seconds and you call timeout, it's on third down.
That's right.
Now you get a chance to go to the huddle. Ben Johnson can get creative. You can call 2 plays in one or dial up that one play you need to get that first down. So now we can recalibrate ourselves, get back in the huddle, and get ready to score a touchdown. But because of the proper handling with the clock, which is something Ben Johnson's going to learn from, he didn't get a chance to execute to the level that we know he can execute.
This was a game between a championship-level run game in Chicago and a championship-level front seven in Green Bay. And the difference became, that's why we were sitting there saying, oh, they got time, because they were running down their throat.
With ease.
And then when they didn't have time, who stepped up? The front seven for Green Bay got off the mat, got pressure, forced to throw. He didn't have time to see DJ Moore slipping back underneath. He was wide open, but that's just a tough throw to make with pressure. So this is, to your point, good on good. We're going to see this a lot.
Yeah.
And so you have to be encouraged if you're both a Packer fan and a Bears fan, because running the football like this against that front seven, that's going to take you far. You know what I'm saying? That they had a great chance. Green Bay just made a better play. Sometimes great plays are nullified by greater plays.
And we also saw how much Rome Odunze means to the Bears passing game, because they missed his ability.
They did.
You know, he had to lean more on Luther Burden, a rookie. And he showed up. He showed up, but, you know, you shouldn't have to lean on a rookie when you have other guys in the passing game.
I think it affected the personnel in some ways, too. We didn't see as many 3 wide-out personnels. You did see Zacchaeus more than you have in the past, but they got a little heavier, I think, in this game.
I'll say this just on the good point, is that when it is good on good, when it is January football, Mac, you know this quite well, the game's going to come down to 3 or 4 plays. That's it. And I think that we've almost identified the plays, right?
Yeah.
It was when Christian Watson was lined up against C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who's been on 4 different teams in the last year, who has been in Chicago for about a month.
And is a safety.
And Kevin Byard, who is a ball hawk these days, but is not the guy who's going to chase anybody down, and certainly not Christian Watson. And so they hit Christian Watson right there. And you can go through those. There's a couple more, and then it's maybe not calling the timeout a little bit earlier. So everyone might just be, maybe they don't feel as comfortable as what you had hoped they had repped at that point on 3rd down going into 4th down.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in January between 2 really good teams. So hopefully the loser of this game learns from that and doesn't make those same mistakes going forward.
You run it back in 13 days in a game that
13 days.
could decide a division. This one goes a long way in that as well, as Green Bay protects home field. Chicago an opportunity to do that after they take on the Cleveland Browns in Week 15. It'll be the Pack again in Week 16. The Packers continue to dominate this head-to-head, this game's oldest rivalry, a 211th meeting. It belongs to the Green Bay Packers. Now streaming on Paramount Plus, it's the return of Landman from Taylor Sheridan, co-creator of Yellowstone. Academy Award winner Billy Bob Thornton is back, featuring Academy Award nominees Demi Moore and Andy Garcia, Sam Elliott as well. Landman, the new season, now streaming on Paramount Plus. More coming here on HQ Post.